Everyone, this is Jane here from Crystal Sparkles Readings, and I'm just here to pop down a few cards for us and also to talk about some changes that I'm making to the channel. What I've decided to do with the channel is to stop doing the weekly readings. I'm kind of... It's difficult. I'm really kind of in a bit of a dilemma about what to do with the channel because it's not really progressing in the way that I would have liked it to. And it's kind of not growing and it's not really getting a lot of views. And I also, to be honest with you, I'm finding it really quite boring doing weekly readings. I'm not kind of engaging with it very well. I'm kind of finding like feels like it's a bit of a chore. I'm not really enjoying doing them. And I think that probably comes over into why the channel's not really doing anything very exciting and people are not being drawn to it for some reason. That, I think, is the reason. So what I've decided to do, and just give it a try for a few months and see what happens, is to just do special readings. So like I'm going to do one for Halloween. I'll probably do one for coming up to Yule and sort of Christmas, and maybe if there's a full moon or a new moon that I want to specifically focus on, I'll do readings that will be specifically connected into an event. So it might be an astrological event, it might be a moon event, it might be something like Halloween or Christmas, Yule, something like that. So I think there won't be a weekly reading here now, because I've got bored of it, and I think that probably comes across, and other people are not really that interested in it. So, and that's fine, that's fair enough. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the specialist events readings. So they'll be a bit higgledy-piggledy, and you probably won't have advance notice of when they're coming up. But if you subscribe, follow the channel and press the little bell, you'll get a notification of when they're going to come up. And what I'll do is I'll try and put a note in the community tab to say that I'm going to do a reading for X, Y, and Z event. What I'm also going to try and do is, if I can, pop up some little sort of mini tutorials about how to work with your decks, how to read tarot, the meanings of the cards. I'm not quite sure what form that's going to take at the moment, but that's something that I'm kind of working on to see where we go with that. So sorry to chunter on about that, but I just wanted to let you guys know what I'm doing, or what I'm thinking of doing with the channel. It's just felt like it needs a revamp. It's feeling tired. I'm kind of feeling that it's got a bit boring, and I don't want it to be that way. So I thought I'd make some changes and see how we go. So this is a few cards for us to look at the energy of Halloween. And Halloween is kind of the new year of the kind of, I think it's the pagan, don't quote me on that, new year. So it's a really important time in our kind of, history, ancient history. So I'm going to ask the cards to show us what we need to know for the upcoming year as a collective, as we change the year at the Halloween time. So let's see what we have. So interesting, Three of Cups. The Three of Cups is a time of celebration. So it would represent New Year. It would represent things like holidays, Christmas, all of that kind of stuff. So the Three of Cups is a time of happiness and celebration. It can be asking us to really focus in on our emotions as well, and to kind of, what I'm being given about the year to come is that it's really important for us to follow our joy. And, you know, I'm in Britain, in the UK, and things are all kind of very doom and gloom at the moment in the UK. Everything you see, everything you hear is all about how it's all going to be really difficult, it's going to be terrible winter, and blah, blah, and blah, and blah, and blah, and blah, and blah. And all that may be true. But kind of thinking about it and focusing on it certainly is not going to help you cope with it. If we can find our joy, then we're much more equipped to be able to kind of, you know, take whatever the winter does bring, whatever the next few months do bring us, kind of just take it in our stride and focus on, I just want to focus on something else. I'm very much in that energy at the moment of, yeah, so much bad news. So yeah, it's a difficult one because you kind of feel like you're almost burying your head in the sand, but you kind of are. And I was listening to some stuff by Esther Hicks, who does the teachings of Abraham and the law of attraction stuff. And she was basically saying that's exactly what we should be doing, is just not taking note too much of all of that stuff. Because it just brings us down. We need to be focusing on what is working. What do we want to work? We need to keep our focus on the stuff we hope for rather than the stuff we dread. So I think there's a valid point to be made there. So let's just see what else we've got. And the world. So I love the world. The world talks about coming to the end of a cycle, coming to completion. So again, it's a really, really appropriate card for this particular time, this Halloween time. So it's time to take stock of where you've got to, where you've come from, where you've got to, what you've achieved, what you've learnt, and also to be ready to move forward. So the world is your oyster. That often comes up for me when I'm looking at the world card. And I'm kind of looking at the lady in the centre who is like holding the world in her hands. And we do hold the world in our hands. It is up to us to do the best we can with what we've got. And there's something about the environment that's coming through with that. And I don't want to make this a whole great big political spiel. But if there are little things that you can do for nature, then why not do those things? I'm kind of really aware of wildlife and stuff like that. So if you can put some nuts out for the birds, or if you've got some, I think they like that sort of bacon rind and stuff like that, look it up online and find out what's the right thing to give them, because, you know, I'm not the expert here. But that's the message that I was getting from the world, is what can we do to look after our little bit of the environment? Sometimes we can't make massive impact, but the little things we can do really do help. So, you know, like looking after your hedgehogs that come by. Do you have hedgehogs or, you know, foxes that you can help out in any way? So, yeah, I just feel like that is looking after the world in whatever little way you can do. And we can't all do massive amounts, but we can do little things. And it's a bit like the story about the starfish, where the guy's throwing the starfishes back into the sea. And there's loads of them all stranded on the beach, and somebody says to him, why are you doing that? You know, you're not even making a difference, because there's so many. How can you possibly make a difference there? And he just says, you know, I made a difference to that one. That one that I threw back, I made a difference to. And I think that's a really nice message. So any little things that you can do to help the environment, or to help wildlife, nature, I think that's asking us to do some of that this year if we can. And those little things don't have to cost anything. You know, putting a little tray of water out for the hedgehogs in the summer costs you nothing. But it makes a difference to that little hedgehog. So I think that's important to take into account for next year. And then we've got the Ace of Swords. So I feel like that is saying that next year might be an opportunity to make changes, make a fresh start, speak your truth, say what needs to be said. Don't be afraid to voice. Yeah, don't be afraid to voice what you believe in. I just kind of feel like that's going to be important. And it's interesting because I was looking at something the other day, actually, which is all kind of about Avalon and stuff like that. And this sword is a bit like it's a bit like Excalibur coming out of the water, and with the Lady of the Lakes holding this sword aloft. And I just kind of feel like this is next year is an opportunity for the truth. Opportunity for you to speak your truth, for you to behave in a way that demonstrates your truth, not hiding your truth anymore, not being afraid to speak up and say whatever it is that you need to say. I'm just going to pop down an oracle card to go with these. See what we've got. Just pop that up there a little bit. Winter. What does this say? The sacredness of pausing. So that's interesting as well, is that the energy that I'm getting from this is that in the winter, quite a lot of things die off and they don't grow. But it is like nature is, see, I feel like I'm really drawn to nature at the moment, that nature is taking a break, you know, it's done all its growing all through the summer, the spring and the summer. It did all that work, all that growing. And it's also, you know, it's had its harvest in the autumn. All the trees have borne their fruit, and all of that has happened. So that's been action, action, action. Spring, summer, autumn for nature. It's busy, you know, with the harvest and the growth and all of that stuff. And winter is that time for taking a step back, you know, hunkering down, staying within. I feel like I'm within. I want to be within. So there's definitely an energy of taking some time out to just be and not feel like you have to push and push and push. So, yeah, I feel like that's important. That's an important message from that card, is to just know that it is okay to take some time to just be, relax, hunker down, stay in, be cozy, as best you can, and just kind of feel like it's okay to take a break. So it doesn't all have to be rush, rush, rush. So hopefully that has been a a nice reading to have a look at the energy of this change in the seasons and this change in the end of the year, the beginning of the year, this Halloween energy. Yeah, and if you kind of enjoyed that way of looking at things, let me know in the comments below. As I say, things are going to be a little less structured here for a little while, because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing, when the next one might be. But if you pop yourself a subscription, press the alarm bell, you will get a notification, and I'll try to put something in the community tab that says when the next one is going to be, when I'm ready to do the next one. The next one is likely to be for the next full moon, because that'll be in a couple of weeks. So I think that's probably going to be the next one that I do. Thank you ever so much for watching and for subscribing to the channel and watching the channel and all of those good things. And I'll see you again really soon. Bye for now.